Shabbat Shalom. Better. Before I introduce our speaker, just a brief word. Our speaker is sharing his story this evening after being in service in the war in Gaza and his recovery and more. If you have a person or people with you in your family for whom you feel this topic is not appropriate for their ears, this is a good time for them to step away. This is not, this story that he's going to share is not particularly explicit in any way, but it will speak of the context of what is going on. So just for the parents in the room in particular with young children, certainly up to you, but want to allow the time for you to step away if you would like to. I'll let Zach answer that question. So just a few words before introducing our speaker. For those of you who were here last week, you had the opportunity to hear from two really powerful speakers sharing us their story of the importance of continuing to work for shared society in Israel, even amidst the current moment when that topic has essentially been erased from the conversation, focusing so much more on what is happening outside of Israel in relation to Israel, and yet the world in Israel remains the same. Israel is an incredibly diverse society, and any number of incredible people have worked very hard for a long time and continue to work extra hard now in maintaining not just coexistence, but as we learned last week, the importance of shared society. NSCI is committed to bringing diverse voices from Israel always into our congregation, but in particular in these days. And so I am thrilled to be able to introduce you to our speaker this evening. So Matan Falach, who literally just flew in, who arrived less than an hour ago. So he may be a little tired, and if so, it's Shabbat, so we want you to feel comfortable and at home, Matan. But he's going to share his incredible story of courage, heroism, and strength through his experience in the war as a staff sergeant in the Nachal Brigade. If you know about the Nachal Brigade, you know this posting, and his story of being wounded there and navigating recovery with the support of the Sheba Medical Center, the incredible Sheba Medical Center, if you have not yet heard of it, and its incredible work in particular since October 7th, but it's been doing incredible work for a really long time. You will hear about it this evening. He is accompanied by Brian Abrahams, who works for the Sheba Medical Center, and we're so happy to have both of them here with us. So I know it's Shabbat, but we are going to extend our warmth to our speakers. Won't you welcome Matan and Brian warmly?
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's a great honor for me to be here today. Thank you for staying. Thank you for listening. My name is Matan Falach. I'm 20 years old. I live in Hod HaSharon. That's a small town in the center of Israel. I have 4 little siblings, and I was a staff sergeant in the Nachal Brigade. I served for like 2 years before the war started. During the war, I was the commander of a medic squad. On October 7th, I was home, like most of the soldiers on weekends, especially on holidays, Simchat Torah. Woke up by the sirens, like everyone. I was in charge of the human resource in the unit, so I had to call all the commanders in the unit and tell them to prepare the soldiers to get to the bases. And like half an hour later, we did that. we got to our bases, sorry. We were at the same time at Hebron, that's a big city in the West Bank. We couldn't live there to fight in the south, so we only flew to the north the day later, to the north borderline. We had terrorists crossing the border there, the borderline. And about a week after that, we went down to Gaza Strip. We were the first division to enter Gaza when the ground operation started in like the end of October. It was a big deal for us to be the first division. It was an honor for us. It was also very scary, as you can imagine. I was fighting for like 2 months. Very intensive 2 months. A lot of fighting, a lot of conquering, a lot of hard work without any sleep. I had one break for 2 days between the 2 months in Israel, all the other time in a row in Gaza. On December 17th, I was in Palestine Square. That was the day I injured. Palestine Square is in Gaza City, in the north side of Gaza Strip. I was in a building with 3 other soldiers. We had a group of like 35 prisoners we captured, among them Hamas prisoners. Among the Hamas prisoners, 2 of them were actually in Israel on October 7th. You can imagine how it feels to stand in front of them and guard them. It was very hard for us. The rest of our unit went to conquer some very important building nearby. So we had to stay with the prisoners. One of our guards saw a terrorist with a weapon walks behind the building in the alley. He tried to shoot him, but he didn't have enough time. So he called me immediately. I came. We tried to, we figured that he was walking towards our unit. He walked in the right direction, sorry. So we had to do something quick. We tried to call our friends in the communication device, but it didn't work. So we couldn't also call for any backup. So in seconds, I just decided to leave 2 of the soldiers with the prisoners and surround the terrorist before he reaches our friends. A very difficult decision to leave 2 of the soldiers with a lot of prisoners. They are dangerous. And also to go to soldiers in the Gaza streets is not very safe. Not only because they are terrorists, but also because the IDF could recognize us as terrorists, as we don't have any communication device. But we didn't care. We had to do something quick. I was going from the other side of the building. I was walking by the road. I was looking for another entry to the very same alley. Couldn't find any, so I made the right turn on the road. I saw my unit in like 100 meters. It's about 300 feet. They were breaking the gate of the wanted building. And I saw that next to it, there was an entry to something that seemed to me like it leads to the very same alley where the terrorist was. So I knew I had like seconds before he could reach them. I had to do something quick. I tried to call them and yell to them, but over the noise of war, it was impossible. A lot of fire, a lot of shootings, a lot of tanks, explosive. Everyone wore earplugs. So I was shouting for nothing. I was also shooting to my right, to all the stores, to make sure that there is nothing there. So I was kind of visible. You can imagine a guy that shoots and shouts, he's visible. The terrorist probably heard me, and he had a small advantage compared to me. He was living in the same area. So he knew the buildings there a little bit better than me. There was a street of stores. So he managed to enter one of the stores from the back door of the building. and wait in a position for me and my soldier. My soldier was Tomer, by the way. He was a paramedic. As soon as me and Tomer passed through his door, he shot us both. I got the first bullet to my hip and fell down, face down in front of him. Tomer got 3 bullets to his chest, but luckily the ceramic vest saved him totally. He got some shrapnel to his arm, so he couldn't use his weapon. He ran a little bit backwards to another store. I tried to crawl a little bit to move out of the terrorist site. It was like 3 meters away from me, about 10 feet, I would say. I'm on the ground, and also I fell on my weapon, so I couldn't use it. I tried to crawl, I couldn't crawl. All I could do was to point at where the terrorist was. Tomer was yelling to our friends, "Niftzano, Niftzano, we're injured." After a few seconds, that, well, for me felt like hours on the floor, they reached us. The first soldier to reach us was Ori Shtub. He was also a soldier of mine. He was a medic. He is a medic. The first thing you should do when a soldier gets hurt is to eliminate the danger, because otherwise you can get hurt as well, get shot, whatever it is. And everyone knows that, but Ori didn't care. He ran first thing to me and tried to pull me, and I don't know how, because I couldn't move myself, but I managed to push him away from me. So he fell on his back out of the terrorist site. 2 other soldiers came and started to look after the terrorist. They were shooting inside the store. He got away. He managed to get away. But as you can imagine, for me it was a good thing, because otherwise I wouldn't be here today. Only after they saw that he wasn't there, I allowed them to pull me backwards to another store. As they pulling me, the team that were breaking the gate and reach us, they were soldiers of me before the war. So they used to take orders from me, and for them to see me on the floor bleeding. I was bleeding from my back. The bullet went in from my hip and out from my lower back, so I was bleeding a lot from my back. It was very hard for them. Like, they got in some kind of a shock. I saw that, and I had to do something. So I gave them orders to clarify all the area and all the building, which made the situation a little bit lighter. Ori was also the one to take care of me, of my bleeding. When he took care of my bleeding, the commander of the unit came to me and he thanked me for saving his soldiers. He had the team that were breaking the gate, and on the other side of the road, 12 soldiers standing. So if me and Tomer wouldn't be there, the terrorist could make one step forward and shoot them all, with automatic rifle, of course. So it was a good thing for me. I was happy about it. He also laughed at me for getting injured. I laughed at him for almost dying. He was a good friend of me. They had to call for an emergency evacuation because of the very dangerous area. So they called a helicopter, and it could only land at the shore of Gaza. So they had to drive me 50 minutes in a Namer. Namer is basically a tank without its cannon. It was 15 minutes of terrible ride, very painful. I literally felt every ant we drove over. Eventually we reached the shore and they flew me straight to Sheba. When I reached Sheba, it was after 3 weeks or so in a row in Gaza, without phones, of course, without any connection to the outer world. And all of a sudden, I saw dozens of doctors and nurses and soldiers just waiting to assist me, and Tomer, of course. Oops. That's fine. So the first questions they asked me was my ID number and my mom's phone number. And I refused to give them my mom's number because I didn't want her to worry. So they started to take care of me, and then the senior doctor of the department came to me, and he said that if I won't give them my mom's number, if I wouldn't call her, then the IDF officers will have to knock at her door. That's much worse. So I gave up and took his phone. I have a video of that, by the way. So I called my mom, and I asked her, "Hey mom, how's it going?" When she realized it was me, she started to cry immediately. And I didn't say anything about the situation. I asked her, "Hey mom, why are you crying? I'm fine, I'm just talking to you." And she started to tell me that the whole day before she felt horrible and she couldn't sleep the whole night. She didn't know why. You are agreeing because mom can feel that. And then she realized that I called her, that I am out of Gaza and I shouldn't be out of Gaza. So she freaked out and she asked me, "Why are you calling me?" And I told her that a friend of mine was shooting the wall next to me and I got some shrapnels. I didn't want to worry her, sorry. She freaked out, she hung up and ran to the hospital. She arrived, I had the surgery. The same day, she told me that my brother, I am the oldest, so my brother that comes after me, he recruited to the army a week before I injured, and I recruited to the exact same unit as I recruited to. Same brigade, same division, same unit. I was very emotional about that. I was very excited. At the minute she told me that, I promised her that when he will finish his training, which is in a couple of months, I will grant him my beret. So I'm very excited about it. That's it. I was hospitalized in Sheba for like 2.5 months. In a rehabilitation department called Returning to Life. It's really the best place, the best environment I could get after such trauma, after, well, getting injured in Gaza. Any of you have been there to Sheba? So if you've been to this department, you must know how happy that place is for the soldiers and how, well, it's like a club. It's literally, we had so much fun there. Well, the doctors were amazing. The equipment is the newest. The physiotherapists are the best. All day long, we have Jews from all around the world coming to hug us. It was a very good time for me. I released from the hospital like a month and a half ago. Three, even a little bit more. I still go to Sheba every day for therapies. Well, now not because I'm here. I figured that coming to the US and speaking with people like you is the best thing I could do. Well, if I can't fight, my friends are still fighting, and I can't be just home and do nothing and go to therapies like everything is fine. I had to do something more important. So here I am today, and I thank you for listening. Thank you. It's fine.
It's very humbling to follow him. First, I want to thank Rabbis Geffen, Gray, and Leisman for, you all have fabulous clergy, but I guess you don't need to hear from me about that. I'm the CEO of the American Friends of Sheba Medical Center. Most people have never heard of Sheba before. It's the largest medical center not only in Israel but in the Middle East. We're on a campus half the size of the country of Monaco with about 400 buildings, and we have the largest children's hospital in the Middle East, largest rehab, et cetera. And we've taken 70% of the casualties of this war have come to us, about 1,500 soldiers like Matan. If you arrive alive to Sheba, we have a 99.85% survival rate. And we get the most critical cases. We have 2 helipads, and we also we're tertiary. We get the most critical from other hospitals, and we get the most critical straight from the battlefield. And we're also do most of the rehab. And so we took a geriatric building and repurposed it as the Returning to Life department just for soldiers, and they have the chance to be with each other and to rehab and support each other. And so Matan is an amazing guy, but he also represents a lot more people like him who you're not going to have the chance to hear from today, but know this is the quality of people that are doing this. And by the way, Sheba Medical Center, coexistence is part of what we're about. At any given time, 20% of our children's hospital are Palestinian kids from the West Bank and Gaza Strip, 50% of pediatric cardiology patients, and we don't have time for it tonight, but we do a lot of work with the Bedouin, Arab Israelis, and the Palestinian Authority supporting their medicine. So if you're at all interested, on the table in the foyer on your way out on the right, there's just some flyers about Sheba, and you can QR code to our website. We're having a mission at the end of May where you can come and meet soldiers like this and see how they're rehabbing. And I want to thank Rabbi Geffen and the clergy again for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. That was great. May I hug you? It's okay. You're going to get hugged by 10,000 random Jews and Jewish family members in a minute. So, Bruchim Abayim, Matan. Matan, to us, you are a hero in the fullest sense, and we are grateful to you. We are grateful to your friends, and so many of us want simply to know what we can do to be of support for Israel, and in particular for you and those who serve with you. And if you feel like there are ways that we can do that, you can tell me and I'll spread the word here. But I'm sure people will have questions for you about that later. Most importantly, though, we just want to thank you. We want to thank you for your service. We are grateful that you have chosen to take time to share your story with us. It helps us feel not so far away because we are separated by so many miles, but not by heart. And it's in that spirit of heart, in that spirit of family, that we welcome you here to our community this evening and want you to know that you always have a home here, you, your friends, your family, whenever you find yourself here. So thank you again. Let's give them one more hand.